In my last video, I showed you how to subtract mixed numbers with and without regrouping, and I showed you a rather maybe complicated method on how to do it. So in today's video, it's going to be a more streamlined process of how we can subtract mixed numbers with regrouping, doing it a lot easier than the way we showed you in the previous video. So with that said, let's give this a shot. So here we have 4 and 2/7, and we are subtracting from it 2 and 5/7. I've started off by having a common denominator with my fractions to make it a little bit easier, but if you notice, the fraction on the bottom is larger than the fraction on the top. 5/7 is bigger than 2/7. So this is a prime example of when we are going to need to regroup. So to do that, we can first start off by taking one or regrouping one whole, so our 4 becomes a 3. Now, for the simpler method, our new fraction, after regrouping, let's take that denominator and add it with the numerator. What is 7 plus 2? Well, that is 9. And the denominator stays the same. So 3 and 9/7 is the same thing as 4 and 2/7. I've just regrouped, and like I said, I took a little shortcut where I added the denominator to the numerator. 7 plus 2 gets me 9. Denominator stays the same. So now I can do my subtraction a lot easier. 9/7 minus 5/7, let's do it in yellow, is 4/7. And then we can subtract our whole numbers. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 4 and 2/7 minus 2 and 5/7 is 1 and 4/7. Let's try a different example now. So in the second example, we have 9 and 2/6, and we're subtracting 4 and 2/3. Notice this time our denominators are not the same. One has a denominator of 6, the other has a denominator of 3. What they are, though, is related. 6 is a multiple of 3. Since they're related, we can keep the fraction at the top. We don't have to change 9 and 2/6 at all. So I'm going to keep this as 2/6. Down here, though, I need to turn the 3 into 6ths. So if we're creating an equivalent fraction for 2/3 that has 6ths as a denominator, we have to think, what am I multiplying 3 by to get 6? Well, that's 2. So we do the same thing to our numerator. 2 times 2 gets me 4. Now we have our common denominators, which is what we need for subtraction, but take a look. 2/6 on top, 4/6 on the bottom. This is much bigger. We're going to have to regroup again. So just like last time, take 1 away from your whole number, so that 9 becomes an 8, and then add your denominator to the numerator. 6 plus 2 gets me 8, and the denominator stays the same. So after regrouping, my 9 became an 8, and my fraction became 8/6, because we added the denominator to the numerator. Now we can do our subtraction. So let's subtract from 8/6 4/6. 8/6 minus 4/6 is 4/6. And then 8 minus 4 with our whole number is just 4. So we've come up with the answer 4 and 4/6, and after we simplify, because remember we can divide both these by a factor of 2, our final answer becomes 4 and 2/3. Let's try one more example. So for our final example here, we are taking away 3 and 4/5 from 12 and 3/7. If you notice, once again, we have uncommon denominators, and this time they are not related. 5 is not a multiple of 7, 7 is not a multiple of 5, so we are going to have to change both of our fractions to get a common denominator. Our denominator, which I assume that you can figure out on your own at this point, is going to be 35. Because that is the least common multiple that 7 and 5 share. So think to yourself, what am I multiplying 5 by to get 35? It's 7, so our numerator becomes 28. What am I multiplying 7 by to get 35? It's 5, so my numerator becomes 15. Now these are some bigger numbers than what we're used to, but if we follow the same process as before, it will still work out just as fine. So we have 3/7 becoming 15/35, and we have 4/5 becoming 28/35. Just like last time, and the time before that, bigger fraction on the bottom, 28/35, is bigger than 15/35. So now we regroup. We're going to take 1 away from our 12 and make it an 11. We are going to add the denominator to the numerator. 35 plus 15 is 50. And our denominator stays the same. Now we can subtract 28/35. 50/35 minus 28/35 ends up being 22/35. And we can finally subtract our whole numbers. 11 minus 3 is 8. So our final answer is 8 and 22/35. If we could simplify it, we should, but in this example, we can't. So there you have it, a hopefully easier method on how to regroup when subtracting mixed numbers to help you get your answer. I hope you found this video helpful, and good luck with your subtraction endeavors.